This is 1914 and video number 6 in the series, and we begin with the Brits, who are buying themselves a transport, a plane and some infantry and artillery because, hoorah and huzzah, they are bloody well getting themselves involved in the action. And jolly good show, I say to them, it's about blooming time, son. They've been hanging around, they've had some bad luck up in India. Their attempts at crashing into Persia and making a dent in the Ottomans have been marginal, to say the best. So, up there, this time, we have an action plan, and it's a good plan. He says, hopefully. 4 of the guys, that's 2 infantry, 2 artillery, coming again onto boats from Bombay, around the coast into Mesopotamia and catching the Ottomans on the blind side. They have moved their units from Mesopotamia, the Ottomans this is, into Persia. We're going to catch them with their trousers down. I'm also going to come in frontwards from India. That may be a tighter battle, a harder one to win. I don't think we're going to lose it, but it's going to be a distraction. With the Brits coming in this way, these forces down here are going to have to think whether they continue the attack in Transjordan, whether they move back towards the Syrian desert or Ankara. Constantinople is going to be their resupply line, which is quite a long way away from where the action is. It's going to put a fly in the ointment. General running around from Africa itself, yes, things are going to be running forwards, heading up towards Transjordan. The 2 ships, can we see this in the Mediterranean? I did think about going into the Adriatic Sea and having a pop at this one lonesome battleship from Austria-Hungary, but you run the risk of mines and they're not going to come out anytime soon. So I think we can keep that as a bit of a standoff situation. Why Britain would need to risk there, I've got no idea. But over in the western side of the map, we are finally getting to move the Canadian forces over, mainly thanks to the French for getting rid of the German fleet in the North Sea. It takes some pressure off now. We can start moving things in without risk of submarines running their way through and blowing everybody up amid water. So, I think I should decide the first battle, get it on the board, and I will see you there. Before I forget, and I did forget because I'm stupid like that, we got a nice little arrangement of dice in here. It was to remind me to mention that I made a mistake on the end of the last go. France actually have only 28 IPCs, 2, 6, 7, 8. That reminds me of that. But also the result of that big German-French battling that occurred with Navy and ground units. I did a count up at the end, and those 3 6s equal 18. That is the actual value of French units that were lost. And this big arrangement here, you may be able to see, spells out 8-0. That was the value of the German pieces that were lost. Obviously, losing battleships, cruisers and submarines really added to their total. That we thought it was going to be economic as well as a physical bit of damage being dealt out. I didn't quite appreciate at the time just how heavy it was going to be on the German forces. So, I'll move these dice out of the way. We'll quickly fly over to Mesopotamia, just to remind you. We have infantry artillery from the Ottomans, doubled up by the Brits, plus their battleship having a throw of some very heavy pieces of shelling at them as well. So we basically have 1 at 4 from the battleship that misses. I don't think I've hit yet with a battleship. 2 infantry get promoted up to 3s from the artillery support. So that's 4 at 3s, and they get the 2 hits that are required. So that will actually mean this area does go to the UK forces. In reply, the Ottomans get 2 hits as well. So I should adjust that on the board, and next place we will be looking at will be Transjordan. The battle in Transjordan is a fairly even affair, although the numbers are slightly confused. The Brits have 2 artillery and 3 infantry, so they start off with 4s at 3s and get 3 hits. Ooh, that's good. And 1 dice at 2 for the remaining infantry, and he gets a hit. That's a bit heavier than we thought it was going to be. In reply, the Ottomans have 5 dice, all at 3s, and I'm only seeing 2 hits. Wow. Those are the opposing forces up in Persia. This is going to be the tight one. Basically, it's 6 versus 7 with the Brits rolling lighter. Though, 6 at 2s, can they hang on? Well, they've got 2 hits. That's a start. It's now the reply from the Ottoman forces that are going to make the big deal out of this. 7 at 3s, and I'm seeing heavy damage. 3 hits. Okay, the Brits will survive. Obviously, they will reinforce a lot of those units into India, possibly the plane too, and their transport ship will go into Sea Zone 9, I believe. Next up, with the Ottomans in their replies. The Ottoman purchase on turn 3 is cheap and nasty, like a flea market rug. They've been forced into it by the UK's actions up in the Persia area, where they've gone round the back door and into Mesopotamia. So the Ottomans are now running around Smyrna and the Syrian desert like mad dogs in the midday sun. They're going to be battling in Greece versus Albania, just here, to grab a couple of IPCs and try to boost their income. They're going to be giving up on Persia. It was a hard decision to make, figuring they're giving Brits 2 and grabbing back 3 because it's going to be a successful attack. We're pretty sure of that. But it's more to be done to centralise their forces within their own borders. Transjordan, they're not going to attack in because they're going to lose that if they try. So the first battle is on the board. It's Persia versus Mesopotamia, with the Ottomans having quite a big advantage of 2 artilleries promoting 2 of their infantry, so that's 4 at 3. And getting 2 hits, that's plenty enough. The Brits are out of there, and in reply the 2 Brits are going to roll at 3s, and they get 2 hits as well. These are the movements I mentioned before but forgot to execute. I'll do them now. Syrian desert gets invaded by Smyrna. The guys from Constantinople move into Smyrna to reinforce them. And the guys from Greece are going into this Albanian fight here. We've got too many people there, but you can't have too many when you're trying to defend your borders, or at least borders you've invaded. These 2 guys are going to stay in Greece to prevent any ideas of the Italians coming across from their Naples region on their transport and stealing a few IPCs, being Chekimonkes. So, the battle in Albania is on the board. We go down to here. It's pretty much a done deal already, as you can see. Infantry and artillery get a boost up to 3s, and they both miss. Oops. Can the Ottoman infantry on its own? It gets a hit. So the Albanians did actually go. In reply, the Italians, they get a hit as well. So I'll put that up onto the board. I shall reinforce the Ottomans into Constantinople. And next up will be the Italians. These are the purchases for Italy in turn 3. They're going to be getting themselves 5 hardy and true infantrymen wearing their Giorgio Armani suits. And they're going to be getting involved in a couple of skirmishes, one of them economically based, and one of them to prevent the movement of the Austrian-Hungarian forces out of Tyrolia. I'll show you for why closer up on the board. They have their battleship being repaired at the docks. That's a simple one. That costs nothing, it takes nothing. They're going to take this battleship along with one transport and infantry artillery on that transport and have a pop back into Albania because the Austrian-Hungarians, Australia come a long way, because the Austria-Hungarians have moved into Trieste to support this move this way, and because the French were so successful in beating up the Germans in Lorraine, there's a hole in Alsace. Now, the forces in Belgium can slip through, the forces in Holland come down, a little conveyor belt system, but this front is quite weak, and the Central Powers will not want the Entente to come sweeping through and even threaten to take Berlin or even Vienna. So Austria-Hungary are distracted here. Similarly, with the Brits' move last go being semi-successful over in the Ottoman region, it's compromising everything the Central Powers were doing apart from getting Moscow, and I think that's going to fall on round 4. So, on the board already is this battle between Vienna and Tyrolia. I believe is going to certainly compromise any movement that the Austria-Hungarians want to make in towards Munich. The French guys will stand in Venice and help block that door, stop the Trieste crew coming through, and obviously a little shuffle forward from Tuscany and from Rome into Tuscany will fill in that little gap there. So over on the battle board, it's ready to roll. We have a huge number. It's actually balanced on either side, except some of the Italians only roll at 2s. The infantry artillery combined attack get 8 dice at 3s. Ooh, quite a lot of hits there. There's only 2 that missed. Wow. Okay, that's a really strong start for Italy. That's going to be 6 hits instantly. And they're left with 5 at 2 and get 1 more hit. That's 50% of the forces damaged, which is good. In reply, Austria-Hungary, all at 3s, and this doesn't look very good at all from here. 1, 2, just the 3. The rest are 4s, 5s and 6s. Oh my god, that is going to severely compromise that Central Powers move as we were thinking. I shall adjust that on the board and we'll look at the Albania attack next. I'm flabbergasted with that. If you can stand the shaky camera work, we do a flyby here. That is the result of the incursion into Tyrolia. Of course, the guys from Vienna can come down on the Austria-Hungarian turn and fill that in, try to support the Tyroleans, and also the guys from Trieste can come across, but you're leaving holes everywhere, especially when they're trying to get through is into Munich and into Alsace to help support the German Empire. Next up, we're going to be on this attack from Naples via the transport with a big battleship booming in there into Albania. It's on the board already. We got a big booming battleship rolling in at 4s, infantry artillery supporting at 3s, and the 2 defending Ottomans at 3s. The first thing you must do is roll for the defending Ottoman artillery. It gets a shot first as the invading Italians are landing. I've got a feeling I forgot to do that for the UK attack in Mesopotamia. I'd have to rewind, but I can't rewind the game, so what's happened has happened. Got me thinking now. So, the Ottoman artillery gets its one and only roll for this particular part of the roll and gets a hit. Nice. So, the Italians will be forced to... Did you hear that rule? That was Poppet supporting the Ottomans, I think. The Italians must lose their artillery, which is going to reduce the infantry down to a 2. Okay, their offshore bombardment will now happen and rolls in at 4s and gets a hit. That is going to take out the Ottoman artillery, and the infantry from Italy can now fire again and gets a hit. So all that's left in Albania at the moment is 1 Italian infantry, provided the Ottomans on their defending roll of 3 with their remaining infantry don't get a hit and they get a miss. So that was a close run thing. Basically, show you on the board. The artillery fired, went kaboom, took out this. This ship fired, went kaboom, took out that. This went kaboom and took out this, and his reply didn't do anything. So Italy are back into Albania, back on the road again. It means that they gain a couple of IPCs, I think it's 2 there, and the Ottomans will lose 2. And I believe that will be all for the Italian turn. I have double checked my counting and triple checked my thinking. I believe I've got most things right, apart from what we find out later that I've got wrong. But that happens. We have, for America, they are buying themselves the final 2 transport and a plane, and I think they're going to be putting all those over into the Washington area and to the Washington state of America land, giving themselves a few IPCs in change. Turn 4 is up next. That will bring them into the war and they can start shipping units across proper. I'll do a quick fly around here to show what we can expect to find. Clearly the results of the emphatic Italian victory in Tyrolia is going to compromise, as we thought, the Austro-Hungarian campaign. Germany have spread themselves too thin, too quick. They should have shipped more units down to Alsace before attempting the invasion of Lorraine, and the French are going to try to capitalise on that, but again, don't want to suffer the same fate as the Germans by moving too fast, too soon. Obviously, tanks are going to start coming in. Germany do have some money in reserve from what I remember. French will have to try to rebuild their fleet. That shouldn't take more than 5 minutes to do that. And the Austria-Hungary Germany regime are going to try to overcome Moscow, which they would hope wouldn't take more than 5 minutes. Over in the Middle East and Far East, I should think that the UK forces will be trying to continue their shipping campaign of moving into the Ottoman Empire via sea assaults and trying to hold on to this border at Transjordan, not allowing anybody to come back through to Egypt. And obviously the distraction that Italy are now playing for them is going to benefit both sides. I shall see you in turn 4.